Close your eyes and picture Anfield on a frigid January night in 2013. A wiry 20-year-old in gloves 2 sizes too big dances past yellow shirts, whips a curling thunderbolt into the top corner and sends 45,000 Scousers into orbit. £8.5 million. That's all Liverpool paid Inter Milan for this samba-footed prodigy. Fast forward 5 seasons, and the same player is cartwheeling into the Camp Nou spotlight as the most expensive signing in Barcelona's history. An initial £105 million climbing towards £142 million.
Of course, being able to play here, to win titles, make fans happy, and always play with happiness are my main goals. It's incredible to know I am going to be with my idols, with players that have a lot of history, like Leo, Luis, Iniesta, Piqué, Busquets, all those great players, and I'm very happy to know I will play with them. I hope to learn, have a good time, and win titles.
How did the little magician of Merseyside morph, in record time, into the poster boy for wasted fortune in Catalonia? Now strap in. This is the rise, splutter, and sudden stall of Philippe Coutinho. Chapter 1. The magician arrives on Merseyside. When Liverpool plucked Coutinho from Inter Milan for just £8.5 million, few outside Serie A took notice. At Anfield though, Brendan Rodgers saw a canvas begging for colour. From his very first cameo, Coutinho painted matches with outrageous vision, slick 1-2s, and those trademark whip curlers that seem to kiss both uprights before settling in the net. Operating off the left or in the number 10 pocket, he became the team's creative electricity. Defenders backed off, midfielders breathed a sigh of relief the moment he drifted wide. Big mistake, because that opened lanes for his no-look passes. Within 2 years, he owned Anfield's heart. He scooped Liverpool's Player of the Year award in both 2015 and 2016, barged into the 2015 PFA Team of the Year, and earned that affectionate nickname, the Little Magician. By 2017, he wasn't just Liverpool's spark, he was Premier League royalty, a conjurer who could splice a defence with the drop of a shoulder. Barcelona's scouts were salivating. Neymar had bolted for Paris the previous summer, Iniesta was drifting toward farewell tours, and the Catalan board decided Philippe Coutinho was the 2-for-1 heir to both. Chapter 2. The blockbuster transfer. January 2018. After months of tense negotiations, Barcelona peeled back the vault. £105 million up front, roughly £142 million with add-ons. The second highest fee the sport had ever seen. Coutinho landed in Catalonia, draped in a Blaugrana jersey, face beaming, but the price tag may as well have been tattooed on his forehead. The club's wish list was ambitious. They wanted Neymar's winger explosiveness, Iniesta's midfield wizardry, and a fresh injection of goals, all wrapped in one polite Brazilian. Early signs teased success. He scored in the Copa del Rey, his debut month, chipped in with La Liga strikes, and even finished that half-season with a league medal. Critics whispered, looks like money well spent. But those whispers faded faster than you can say La Remontada. Chapter 3. The positional puzzle. Barcelona's orchestra suddenly realised their new violinist played a slightly different tune. Ernesto Valverde experimented. Midfield trio, Coutinho drifted too high and left Busquets exposed. Left wing, fine on paper, until Messi wandered centrally at will, Dembele craved width, and Suarez occupied every channel in between. Soon, the Brazilian found himself roaming no man's land. Not enough ball to dictate like Iniesta, not enough turf to isolate full backs like Neymar. Valverde's verdict? Midfield luxury they could no longer afford. By autumn of 2018, Coutinho was shuttling between bench and left flank, never 2 games in the same role. The positional mismatch snuffed out his Liverpool swagger. Free roaming playmaker? Forget it. At Camp Nou he was more spare part than spark plug, and the frustration seeped into every sideways pass. Chapter 4. Form fades, pressure mounts. Nobody panics over a mini slump, well, unless that slump lives beneath a £142 million microscope. After his promising spring cameo, Coutinho's first full season became a roller coaster stuck on the climb. Long stretches of anonymity, brief flashes of brilliance, then another lull. By early 2019, the numbers looked ordinary, the highlights thin. Rumours surfaced that Barca might cut losses for half price. Supporters felt shortchanged, and the whistles started. Mid-April of 2019, he belted a 25-yard screamer and celebrated by plugging his ears, a not-so-subtle message to detractors. Instead of silencing the criticism, the gesture amplified it. Confidence, once overflowing, evaporated. Every mistimed dribble drew groans, every substitution widened the chasm between superstar billing and mediocre return. Chapter 5. Injuries, instability, and the final straw. While fitness wasn't his primary villain early on, Barcelona's 2019 to 2020 turbulence provided no safe harbour for a struggling artist. A locker room bristling with expectation, a board chasing instant silver, and tactical tweaks arriving weekly call it the perfect storm. Coutinho's temporary reprieve came not from form, but from exile. 2019 to 2020 loan to Bayern Munich. Away from Catalan glare, he rediscovered joy as a rotation piece. Less burden, more freedom. He even tormented his parent club, bagging 2 goals and an assist during Bayern's brutal 8-2 Champions League demolition of Barcelona. He lifted a continental treble in Bavaria, winner's medal glistening under Munich fireworks. But Bayern declined the 120 million purchase clause. If the Champions League glow-up couldn't convince them, who would bite? Returning to Camp Nou in 2020 under Ronald Koeman, Coutinho sparked nicely, nicking an early goal in October. Then misfortune struck. A severe knee injury in December shelved him for the season, snuffing out any redemption arc. By the time he limped back, Barcelona's finances were crumbling and patience had run dry. Chapter 6. The Premier League return and shifting reputation. January of 2022. Aston Villa, managed by former Liverpool teammate Steven Gerrard, offered a life raft. On loan, Coutinho made an instant splash, equalising against Manchester United on debut and sprinkling glimpses of the old sorcery. Villa secured him permanently that summer for roughly £17 million, a staggering markdown from Barcelona's outlay. The honeymoon, though, was brief. Pockets of magic still surfaced, sharp through balls here, a top corner curler there, but consistency evaded him. Minor knocks, tactical adjustments, dips in form. Villa's initial roar subsided into resigned acceptance. By 2023, they sanctioned another loan, this time to Qatar's Al Dahail, and in 2024, he returned to Brazil with Vasco da Gama. Each move downshifted the spotlight, reinforcing how far the stock of Europeans' football's once most wanted had fallen. Chapter 7. Dissecting the mistake label. So, why is Coutinho still cited as football's most expensive mistake? The answer lies at the intersection of expectation, context, and timing. 1. Sky-high fee versus sky-high role. Barca didn't spend Neymar money for squad depth, they spent it for match-winning miracles. When those miracles arrived sporadically, instead of weekly, disappointment snowballed. Tactical square peg. Liverpool gave Coutinho license to float, shoot and filter every attack. Barcelona required rigid positional discipline inside a Messi-centric vortex. The fit just never harmonized. Confidence spiral. Once the Camp Nou crowd turned, each back heel that misfired felt heavier than the last. Coutinho's game depends on invention. Invention dies when you fear risk. External chaos. Boardroom feuds, managerial rotations, and shifting teammates created a carousel that even seasoned stars struggle to ride. A confident player parachuted into chaos seldom thrives. Market freefall. From £142 million to a mere £17 million in 4 years, his valuation plummeted faster than a stock after a scandal. That financial cliff became the sharpest visual for expensive mistake. Chapter 8. The legacy reframed. History's textbooks can be cruel. They may headline Coutinho as a cautionary tale, a giant price tag attached to the wrong puzzle piece. But rewind the tape and another truth emerges. At Liverpool, he was an artist who turned rainy Sunday afternoons into Technicolor theatre. Bayern, he played a cameo that felled his own parent club en route to a treble. Even in Clarion Blue, he produced sparks that lit Villa Park for a fleeting moment. His downfall isn't talent lost, it's context misjudged. Barcelona bought a swallow and expected an eagle. They paid for one superstar who would cover 2 vacated legends, then forced him into a suit that never quite fit. The magician still had tricks, the stagehand simply forgot the spotlight. Epilogue. Coutinho's saga should echo in every boardroom where desperation meets ego. A colossal fee guarantees headlines, but not chemistry. A stellar highlight reel promises excitement, not system compatibility. And the human beneath the jersey, confidence fragile, form fluctuating, can't be measured by price alone. So next time your club parades a record signing with glitter cannons and marketing slogans, remember the shy Brazilian who once made Anfield believe in wonder goals and later stood shoulders slumped beneath Camp Nou boos. Remember that even magicians need the right stage. And remember that the difference between bargain and blunder can be as thin as a tactical adjustment, as fickle as crowd patience, and as brutal as a knee ligament snapping in December. The little magician's wand never broke. It was simply boxed in the wrong packaging. Yet, their ledger doesn't care. History tallies cost against impact, and in that unforgiving maths, £142 million brought Barcelona a lesson instead of a legend. Now that, in the unforgiving world of elite football finance, is how Philippe Coutinho became the game's most expensive mistake.